This is Binghamton Now on News Radio 1290 WNBF Binghamton and WNBF.com.
Where news breaks first. News Radio 1290 WNBF.
This is News Radio 1290 WNBF News. Sunny today, high near 78. Tonight, a chance of showers and thunderstorms, low around 58. Wednesday, partly sunny with a chance of showers and thunderstorms and a high near 80. Authorities say a man suspected of a vicious attack on a shopper inside the Johnson City Walmart store also tried to choke a village police officer. Police were called to the store in Gannett Drive around 12:50 p.m. Sunday to investigate the assault on a 69-year-old man. Investigators said when officers arrived at the scene, the man reported he had been randomly assaulted while he was shopping. Officers spoke with witnesses and reviewed the store's surveillance video recordings. The video showed a man approached the shopper and then started to punch him until he fell to the ground. Then the attacker was seen stomping on the victim in the head with his foot. The suspect, identified by police as 33-year-old Angel Vasquez, was charged with third-degree assault in connection with the store attack. According to a news release, Vasquez became extremely violent at police headquarters. Several officers struggled to subdue him. As he was being moved to a holding cell, Vasquez allegedly grabbed the police officer by the neck and began choking him. The officer sustained minor injuries but did not seek medical treatment. The shopper who was attacked was treated at a local hospital. Vasquez was charged with second-degree assault upon a police officer, a felony. He also faces counts of criminal obstruction of breathing and obstruction of governmental administration. Vasquez was arraigned and sent to the Broome County Jail on $500 bail. On May 4th, investigators from the Binghamton Police Department assigned to the New York State Division of Criminal Justice Services Gun-Involved Violence Elimination Initiative conducted a traffic stop on a vehicle reported stolen from Port Authority of New York and New Jersey Police Department in the area of Rollison Street and Water Street in Binghamton. A 17-year-old juvenile fled on foot from the vehicle and was pursued and apprehended. Investigators located the juvenile with a loaded 9mm Ghost handgun and a high-capacity 9mm handgun magazine. A Ghost handgun is an unregistered and untraceable homemade handgun that is not marked with the serial number. The 17-year-old Binghamton man was charged with criminal possession of a weapon in the second degree, criminal possession of a weapon in the third degree, criminal possession of a firearm, criminal possession of a weapon in the fourth degree, and obstructing governmental administration. On February 27th of 2023, it was announced that the Greater Binghamton Airport would be awarded $7 million in federal funding for terminal upgrades through the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act Airport Terminal Program. At that time, Representative Mark Molinaro noted that the improvements included reconstructing the passenger hold room, replacing HVAC equipment and with reliable and energy-efficient units, installing 2 new passenger boarding bridges, and expanding its exterior canopy. On Monday, he announced Greater Binghamton Airport will receive an additional $3 million in federal funding for airport terminal upgrades from the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act Airport Terminal Program. The additional funds will go to expanding the Greater Binghamton Airport's passenger hold room, along with the other projects that will soon begin or are already underway. Jason Garner, the Broome County executive, noted that the award of these funds shows strong partnership with the state and federal officials. It's put on full display the importance and impact of this project in our community. The judge presiding over Donald Trump's hush money trial has fined him $1,000 and warned of jail time for future gag order violations. The reprimand Monday opened a relative day of testimony as jurors for the first time heard the details of the financial reimbursements at the center of the case and saw payment checks bearing Trump's signature. Jeffrey McConney, of the former Trump Organization controller, explained how the company reimbursed payments meant to suppress embarrassing stories during the 2016 presidential campaign. The testimony concerns a $130,000 payment from Trump attorney and personal fixer Michael Cohen to porn actor Stormy Daniels to stifle her claims of an extramarital sexual encounter with Trump a decade earlier. That's a look at news. For updates on local news, weather, sports, and features, open up the WNBF app and online at WNBF.com. This is News Radio 1290 WNBF.
From the Galt Auto Studios, this is WNBF News Radio AM 1290. Also available at 92.1 FM. We're still saving the Southern Tier money at Galt Toyota.
I'm Bob Joseph. This is Binghamton Now. News Radio. WNBF. WNBF.com. We are here for you. Give us a call at 607-772-1290.
WNBF.
Tuesday, May 7th, 2024. And we are on the air. And we are embracing another beautiful spring day here in the Binghamton area. Hope your day is off to a pleasant start. Hope you received some of your initial information about our world on First News Binghamton with Don Morgan. Every Morgan is a good Morgan with Don Morgan on First News Binghamton. Just looking here at the front page of the New York Times, I know you're saying, why would you get that? Let's see, just skimming the headlines. Wow. This is all on the front page. Israeli military orders 110,000 to leave Rafah. One story. 4 children hurt in Gaza arrive in U.S. Russia plans drill for battlefield nuclear strike. Sounds ominous. Not as ominous, but perhaps more interesting to many of our viewers. Trump warned of jail again for his attacks. That's just above the fold on page 1. So there's a lot of information. Then below the fold, you've got a bunch of people who played dress up at the Met Gala. I'm still somewhat perplexed by the premise there, but anyway, it happens, I guess, every May, and I did not attend. My invitation was misdirected, I suppose, or maybe it wound up in my spam folder. Either way, I was apparently not invited to this year's big Met Gala. So, oh well. I'll look forward to 2025. Also, on the front page of the Times today, will Europe's rising far right gradually erode democracy? And genetics causes up to 20% of Alzheimer's cases, study suggests. So, of special interest to those who support journalism, Pulitzer Prize winners, New York Times and the Washington Post won 3 awards each for their reporting on global injustice and conflict. So congratulations to all of the hardworking journalists who have done so well. Let's see, hold on a sec. It's interesting, every day, and I'm not going to be too specific right now, every day, thanks to technology, life gets just a little bit harder. Have you noticed that? When I was growing up, we were led to believe, and obviously it must have been propaganda put out by the tech sector. We were led to believe technology was going to make life easier and better. And to a certain extent, I guess it has made some things easier and better. But every day, there's something new. Something new. Just why did they do that? Why did they change that? Oh, because of security, or usually it's because of money. You're perfectly happy with a program or an app or something, and then, hey, we have an update. Don't you dread the updates? Because inevitably, yes, they'll roll out 2 or 3 new features that might be useful, but along with that are a bunch of other features that only serve to impede your enjoyment of life. Well, that feature we used to have, that convenient search feature that you used every day or several times a day, we now have trashed that with our upgrade. Hope you enjoy it. It's like, and then you send a note. No, restore that feature that you had for the last 15 years. And of course, you never get any response, no acknowledgement. So anyway, first world problems. Taking a look at WNBF.com, 7 Brew planning to stir up new coffee competition on Front Street. So if you like coffee, and I know many people who do, you may find that story interesting. WNBF.com, 7 Brew opened its first coffee shop, drive-through coffee outlet in northeastern United States last September on the Vestal Parkway. Now, they're looking at a site on Front Street, so you can see that at WNBF.com, see what they're talking about. Also, here's a disturbing story. You may have already heard about it. A lot of people are stunned. Man accused of stomping on head of Johnson City Walmart shopper. And this happened of all times on a Sunday afternoon, 12:50 on a Sunday afternoon. According to the police, there was a random attack at the store on Gannett Drive. And a guy, and for all I know, he might be a WNBF listener, a guy was apparently randomly assaulted while he was shopping. So imagine, if you will, you're shopping at 12:50 on a Sunday afternoon, buying the things you need for the next week, and someone punches you. According to the Johnson City Police account, based on witness statements and also a review of the surveillance video recordings at the store, a man approached the shopper who was minding his own business, just shopping, as each of us do on a regular basis, and then just apparently for no reason at all started to punch the shopper until he fell to the ground. Then the attacker was seen on video stomping the victim in the head with his foot. So the suspect is a 33-year-old man. He's charged with misdemeanor assault in the store attack, but wait, there's more. Police say the man who was the assailant at the store became extremely violent at the police headquarters. Several officers tried to subdue him, and according to the police account, as he was being moved to a holding cell, he allegedly grabbed an officer by the neck and began choking him. That police officer sustained minor injuries. The shopper who was attacked was treated at a hospital for lacerations, abrasions, and swelling. So, in addition to the misdemeanor assault count, he now also is hit with a felony assault count, assault upon a police officer, and he faces counts of criminal obstruction of breathing and obstructing governmental administration. He was arraigned and sent to Broome County Jail on $500 bail. I saw some comments from people who suggested that the only reason the suspect wasn't released on bail, or rather wasn't released without bail, was because of his behavior at the police station for the alleged attack and injuring a police officer, because that's a felony. So some people suspect that if he just was arrested on the misdemeanor assault charge for what happened at the store to the guy who was shopping, who got punched and stomped, there are people who have suggested this suspect would have just been turned loose to go out and punch and stomp again. I don't know. I'm not a legal expert, not a judge. But wouldn't that be interesting? All right. You randomly attacked some person who was shopping at the store at 12:50 on Sunday afternoon. Here's an appearance ticket, and we'll see you in Village Court on May 14th. It's 9:20. This is Bob Joseph on your side. We're here for you. Everybody is welcome. You don't need to have any talking points. I know some shows want only people who have the official talking points to participate. And some of the shows will let in, say, a random person every sixth caller who doesn't have the talking points, and they need to bring in someone to give the appearance of independence. Here we let everyone have a say, and everyone can have a conversation with your friendly host, the friendly host on the radio. You're listening to Binghamton Now, 92.1 FM, 1290 AM, and streaming at WNBF.com. At 9:23, WNBF is live on the air. We have two of the transmitters, and then we have a thing that runs it onto the internet, and then we also have an app. So we've got most platforms covered. Joined now by Karen Sweet O'Neill. This live preview segment is sponsored by KSO Insurance Solutions. Good morning.
Good morning, Bob. How are you?
Great. Loving life. Doesn't get much better than this.
I'm telling you what, that was a terrible news story about that gentleman in
was
Walmart.
Awful. It was very disappointed to hear about that. So hopefully he's going to be doing okay.
Was he an older gentleman, or
he was? They said he is 69 years old.
Well, he probably wouldn't attack a younger one because they might not,
Well, I don't know. Just the thought of anybody attacking anyone at random, no matter where, whether it's in a store or on the street or whatever. Right. I don't understand. I just don't understand. But, okay, one thing, because I don't know anybody involved. So for the man who was injured, I wish that he has a full and speedy recovery. Now, for the person who's accused of doing this, well, of course, I want justice, but also seems to me, and it's just, I'm theorizing here, I think he might need some help, too.
You think?
Yeah, and so hopefully, yes, there needs to be justice for injuring a shopper and justice for injuring a police officer, but then going forward, hopefully the man can get some help so this type of thing won't ever happen again.
Well,
I know it's unpopular to say. Some people are saying, oh, well, there you go, Bob. You're showing compassion to the wrong person. No, I'm showing most compassion to the innocent person who was injured, but I'm also concerned for the man who did this, because somebody who's thinking rationally is not going to do that, because there's no indication that there was any specific motive. So
he was probably all banged up. He's probably all drugged up.
I don't know. Yeah. So anyway, well, I mean, something needs to be done, because the one thing I know about New York State, Karen, is it's highly unlikely that the guy who was charged with that thing on Sunday afternoon is going to be held for a long time. So at some point with New York's justice system, he'll be out among us again. And, so if he shows up, if he shows up in the store, the bottom line is we need some assurance that he's not going to do this type of thing again. So I don't know.
Right.
I don't know how you prevent it, except try to get him help. Well, but New York State,
he can get help when he's locked up.
Yeah, in theory. But New York State, help is not usually available to people in jails or prisons. I mean, there is some, but there's not enough. So anyway, that's not why you called. What is on the agenda for tomorrow's segment?
You're going to be excited.
Oh, okay. Hold on. I'm gonna. I can't reach the chair, but I'll pretend I'm sitting down.
We're going to do a quiz. And I know you just love those.
Oh my gosh, a quiz.
I know. And you know what else?
So people then will know why Don Morgan is filling in for me during the first hour.
And you know what? And Don Morgan, I'm going to give him a different quiz, so you can't even cheat.
No, that's not
well,
fair.
Maybe. I don't know. Depends on how much
fair.
I get done.
Okay.
It might be the same one.
All right. We'll tune in.
All right. And we're not going to even give a subject matter.
Oh, well, I hope
No
it's
studying.
I hope it's music from the 60s and 70s.
Oh, fun.
Well, then I would stand a chance of, getting one or two.
Oh, it's going to be a fun
answers.
quiz.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a fun quiz tomorrow morning with Karen Sweet O'Neill at approximately 9:20.
That's correct. We are at 1708 Vestal Parkway East. We're up above Plato's Closet, Style Encore. You can reach us several ways for an appointment. You can simply give us a call at 607-772-4898. You can also Google us at KSO Insurance. All our contact information comes up, including our website. And if you miss the phone number, you can go to a phone book. And we have a big display ad under insurance in the yellow pages.
I'm looking forward to doing well on tomorrow's quiz.
Oh, I'm sure you will.
All right.
All right.
Appreciate your confidence. Thank you, Karen. Have a super day.
You too, Bob. Take care.
928 WNBF, the station. Oh, come on in. Come on in, Eric. Now, this is Eric Donaldson from, you still work upstairs, right?
I work upstairs. Yeah, from upstairs.
I was in such a, by the way, I was over on Emma Street at about 8:55 this morning doing some reporting, and then I'm talking to the guy for a future story, and I'm looking at my watch, and I said, "Oh, gotta go. We have a show." It's like
a show to do.
How do you go from Emma Street at 8:55 to being on America's fastest growing and most popular radio show, the Howard Stern program?
In honor of Emma Stone, are they going to rename Emma Street Emily Street? Would that be appropriate?
Good. I hope they name it Gannett Street. Johnson City has its Gannett Drive, and Binghamton can rename Emma Street Gannett Street in honor. Go. Maybe that would help bring the newspaper. Wouldn't it be funny? They read on AP. Oh no, they dropped AP. Yeah. So they read on Reuters a story about an upstate New York City that loves its newspaper, and to show how much it wants its newspaper to bring back an actual office in the city, they've renamed, how about this? No, go one step further. Rename Main Street Gannett Street. So all of Main Street, and that would get global attention. And then the people at Gannett would say, oh, we see what they're doing. Sure.
Yeah.
Sorry. Got off on a tangent. Now, we're going to do something. You're here to talk about the upcoming job fair.
I am.
I have to be extremely honest, because we also have our friend Mike Carbone, who will be calling in shortly, too, just to let you know.
He's tomorrow, I think.
Oh, is he? Oh, that's right. Oh, okay. Now, see, I've got my days. See, that's what happens. Oh, suddenly I can exhale. Hold on.
That's better.
Okay, you're right. Because what I was going to say, because I was looking actually at tomorrow's 9:30 slot.
Yeah.
And due to circumstances beyond anyone's control, we had double booked. And so I'm looking, so we have Mike Carbone, plus we have someone else in the 9:30 slot, and then you. And now it's like, today is fine. I've got nearly 24 hours to figure out our double booking dilemma for tomorrow. So take as much time.
Okay.
So again, Eric Donaldson. Again, for people unfamiliar with you, you've been with this operation for quite a few years now.
I moved to the Binghamton area in 1995. So for 29 years now, I've been part of the advertising and marketing team with first The Whale. 99 won The Whale. And then when we merged into one company back in 96 or so is when NBF and the Hawk and the Whale all came under one umbrella, under Wix Broadcasting back then.
Primary operation was selling those things that go in candles. And it's like, whatever. I don't know how they managed to monetize it, but then, and then it went from Wix. I've lost track. I used to have a scorecard, a timeline of the owners that we have. Of course, now we've been owned by Town Square Media.
Yeah, we've been Town Square for 12 years now.
Yeah, well
2012.
over a decade. So it's been from an ownership standpoint, it's been a period of great stability. And we love it.
And we've done these job fairs sporadically, especially once COVID left us. We've gone back to having the in-person job fairs, and we do them over at the Farmers Market Complex over on Upper Front Street, sort of by Cracker Barrel and SUNY Broome over there, which is a really wonderful facility to do these events in.
It's a convenient location because it's for those coming from the Triple Cities. You can get to it easily just by Front Street, or if you're coming from elsewhere in the area, it's very close to the I-81 Front Street exit.
So our next job fair will be this Thursday from 11 until 2 at the Broome County Farmers Market facility there on Upper Front Street. And we'll have 10 businesses there, and this is who will be there. Amrex Chemical is hiring for CDL-A drivers and CDL-B drivers, along with day shift warehouse workers. Brooms Over Broome is looking for full and part-time residential and commercial cleaning positions, and also has summer temp positions available. The Broome County Sheriff's Department will be there, and they've got a variety of openings in their corrections recruitment division. They have investigation officers, classification officers, field training officers, sheriff's emergency response team, training instructors, grievance officers, courthouse officers, transport officers, and weekender program training. And in their deputy recruitment division, they have canine handlers, SWAT team, Marine unit, detectives, special investigative unit, community engagement officer, sergeant, lieutenant, captain, and warrants divisions. The children's home, the children's home will be there. They have openings in clinical training specialists, child care workers, teachers, nurses, both RNs and LPNs, social workers, community-based providers, credentialed family peer advocates, licensed professional PTs, and school-age child care program. Good Shepherd Communities has a variety of openings: a director of facilities management, dietary servers, housekeepers, CNA trainees, resident assistants, home health aides, assistant cook and cooks, unit secretary, director of purchasing, activities aide, LPNs, sales and marketing, security guards, dining services, wait staff, and speech language pathologists and RNs. Mirabito Energy Products has openings in their corporate offices looking for billing clerks, customer service specialists, recruiters, brand manager for the Ithaca market, CDL A and B drivers, and service techs, as well as openings in their stores with need for managers in training, part-time store clerks for all shifts at many locations. The New York Army National Guard will be there. They have a couple of opportunities that come with a $20,000 sign-on bonus. Those are for a cavalry scout and forward observers. And they're also hiring for combat medics, infantry, horizontal construction engineer, culinary specialists, and military police. Town Square Media will be there, as always, obviously, and we're always looking for advertising and marketing salespeople. UHS, United Health Services, has a very long list of openings from access representatives, athletic trainers, certified nursing assistants, environmental service workers, food and nutrition workers, home health aides, laboratory technicians, laboratory technologists, licensed practical nurses, medical office assistants, medical receptionists, nursing assistants, patient account representatives, patient transport aides, physical therapists, registered nurses, respiratory therapists, security guards, special task aides, sterile processing technicians, and surgical techs. And then Willow Run Foods, our good friends over there, will be there looking for a senior accountant, cab detailers, CDLA drivers for Binghamton and Scranton, CDLA driver trainees for Binghamton, CDLA line haul drivers, CDLA yard jockeys, driver helpers, dispatch, night warehouse, remedial driver trainer for CDL Class A, truck fueler washers, and warehouse maintenance for second shift. So those jobs will be available to people this Thursday over at the Farmers Market facility on Upper Front Street from 11 until 2. So if you know people, if you're looking to change careers, or if you know people that are looking for a new career, or students that'll be finishing up college and are looking to join the workforce, make them aware of this opportunity, and we hope that we see you there.
Well, I appreciate the overview. Now, somebody told me you will be there.
I will be there too,
Okay.
yes.
Autographs.
I will gladly sign an autograph. I used to practice that. You probably did that too. Didn't you practice your baseball signature for, when you were a kid? You
I've
practiced.
been in the business long enough now, so I think about it. I've received more than 5 requests for my autograph.
I'm sure you have. You're a
the
star.
years. Well, I would. A lot of times I thought it's just like, wait a second. You look above and you see it's like, wait, it's like some sort of legal agreement, and it's like, can I read that what I'm signing? Oh no, I just want your autograph. And it's like, but legal experts say you should always read what you're signing. No, I just want your autograph. It's going to be valuable someday. Then you find out it's like, well, that car you used to own? Not anymore.
Not so much.
Turned over the Bobmobile
Not
over
so much.
to a happy listener. They're happy driving the Bobmobile while
right.
it's like you're trying to figure out how to upload the Uber app so I can get an Uber to go to the station. Anything else going on? How are things up there on the first floor? I notice they don't really want the announcers up there too much.
Oh, we love having you up there. No, it's a busy time of year. This is our busiest time of the year. Spring is busting out all over, and I've always said when you live someplace where the seasons occur and when they happen early, that's good for the whole retail sector, and I think that's what you're seeing out there right now. Is business is just frankly very strong everywhere, so very good signs.
Well, a lot going on, and by the way, and this is what is known in the business as a gratuitous and sadly self-serving plug. Check out WNBF.com for continued developments with new businesses coming to town and expanding businesses, new and expanding businesses. And I'm aware of, I think, at least 2 more stories that I will be writing about later this week at WNBF.com, which shows that indeed, I think the economy is moving forward and evolving. That's one thing people say, well, it's really hard to get a horse buggy around here anymore. That's true, but everything is always changing, and that's what's exciting, whether it's covering the business developments or anything else going on around the Triple Cities. A lot happening in our little small sector.
Our corner of the world.
Yes, we love it. Thank you, Eric Donaldson.
Thanks, Bob.
And there you have it, preview for this week's job fair from Town Square Media. It's 9:41, live and local, 607-772-1290. Go ahead, give me a call. Who do you think? Should that judge throw him in jail? That'll be today's question. Jail or not? I think I've synthesized the issue for America today down to 3 words. Jail or not? If you were the judge, what would you do? We'll take calls at 607-772-1290. I'm Bob Joseph. You're listening to WNBF.
WNBF.
9:44. I'm Bob Joseph. WNBF. Jail or not? Jail or not? Trump warned of jail again for his attacks. The judge overseeing Donald Trump's criminal trial rebuked the former president for mounting a direct attack on the rule of law, holding him in contempt. Holding him in contempt of court for a second time and threatening to jail him if he continued to break a gag order that bars him from attacking jurors. So there's the judge. And you think you think you have problems. Imagine you're the judge in this trial. Can't imagine that anybody would willingly take up the thankless task of overseeing the trial of the millennium, and yet here the judge is trying to do his duty. Somebody has to do it. And so this judge is doing his best to deal with a virtually impossible situation, knowing full well you can't please Mr. Trump supporters. You can't please Mr. Trump's detractors. You just can't please anyone when it comes to this. And yet the judge is doing his best to try to be fair. Jail or not? I don't know. Who am I to judge? Good morning, WNBF. You're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Bob.
Oh, good morning, Bob from Vestal.
Again? With this Trump business?
As long as he is on trial, you can count on WNBF to provide excellent coverage.
Okay, say if it was Biden, would you be on this every second of every day?
Yeah.
No, you wouldn't.
Oh, I would.
Listen to me. All those people like that crook Cohen, they get to go on your favorite station, CNN and them, and blow their mouths about anything about Trump. But he can't say a friggin' word? And you think this is fair?
Well, at least, if they want to blow their mouths, that's okay. I don't have a problem with that. That's not the issue in this particular case.
Wait a minute. That Cohen's been put in jail for being a liar. That's your hero?
No. Cohen's not my hero. Not at all, Bob. Cohen is far from heroic.
You and that Matt Ryan really been smoking some good shit or something, because something.
No, we don't. We don't. The bottom line when it comes to our perception, and by the way, I have a completely different perception of the trial than the former mayor. You know that. My perception of the trial is that it should be carried out in a businesslike manner. The defendant should be treated with dignity and treated with respect. But at the same time, so should the prospective witnesses, and so should the jurors, and even the judge. Even if you don't like the judge, try to treat him with respect. Everybody involved in this process should be treated respectfully.
No, because they're biased people.
Everybody has a built-in bias. And anyone who tells you they're not biased is not being truthful.
I'm in love with Karen Sweet O'Neill. She put you in your place. You tried that liberal bleeding heart stuff with her, she more or less put that guy in jail. See, that's the way people really think, Bob. And you and your liberal point of view.
I didn't say he shouldn't go to jail. I said there should be justice. But I also said, and I think this is accurate, that he probably needs help. Yes, society demands justice, but the man who's accused in connection with what was described as a random, unprovoked attack, yeah, he needs to be dealt with appropriately under law, but he also probably needs help so when he's released, he doesn't resort to the same thing.
Could be you next. Just think if you're in Wegmans and he smacked you.
I don't want to think about it, but, you know, the reality is yes, it could happen anywhere at any time.
Liberals, what these people get a little slap on the hand and you don't do anything to them. When I was a teenager getting in trouble, I would have to go to court. My parents were freaking out because I trespassed or something, bail, the whole bit. When I was 16 years old, these punks are walking around doing drugs, beating people up, and you liberals think, yeah, let him out. I don't understand where this country is gone.
Well, the country's in fine shape overall.
It is.
It's in wonderful shape.
Store lately, genius?
What?
Have you been to the store lately, genius?
I'm going to the store almost every day. Have you seen how high the prices are?
What did it cost you under Trump? Half of what it does now?
But
Man,
again,
I'm telling you.
it has nothing to do with who's the president.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, corporate greed. I heard this a month ago. I wasn't going to call. I was going to go.
Those greedy corporate guys, and yes, women too. I don't want to be sexist, and probably those who don't identify as male or female, those corporate people who are fixated on the quarterly performance of their company. So that's why, Bob, in every bag of chips, instead of getting 62 chips, now you get 48. Has nothing to do with Joe Biden.
I don't know about you. For a guy who knows so much, I don't think you're smart. You look at things the way you want to. You never. Oh, Tommy from Susquehanna. I love when he asked you yesterday, why do you do that? Every time somebody calls, you twist it around. Everybody notices that, except your pals Vinny and your liberal buddies up there. What are you feeding them up there in Binghamton?
Only the finest. Only the most delicious foods, premium, fresh foods, almost suitable for dogs. They're so fresh, so delicious, it makes us feel healthy.
Yeah, I just got in here. I was going to go see my buddy a couple streets over, see how he's doing.
All right.
And now I got to see if anybody sticks up for me.
Of course they're going to stick up for you. This is the most conservative station I've been in.
You liberals always call after I do.
No. Liberals don't usually call after you're on. Sometimes they do, I've noticed. But usually they sit and stew in silence. Because, you know, Bob from Vestal, I think they realize in their hearts that you're right.
You never admit that.
Far right.
Most people in this country think the way I do, and don't give me that 81 million votes.
Well, it was 81 million. And then what's his face got, 74 million? So the sad truth is, I mean, you can't argue with numbers. Numbers are numbers. And the hard, cold results from the 2020 election speak volumes how Joe Biden, a simple man from Scranton, managed to garner more than 7 million additional votes compared to a Queens real estate developer. I admit, I was shocked. Well, you know, sometimes when you present the facts, sometimes it becomes difficult for some people. But most of us can handle the truth. It's 9:52. This is Bob Joseph for you on Binghamton Now. If you have thoughts, again, I forgot to ask him. Pardon me for failing to ask the question of the day. The question du jour is jail or not? Jail or not? If you had the honor of being the judge in America's most interesting trial at the moment, would you prescribe jail? Or would you just allow the defendant to continue to run totally amok? This is Binghamton Now, 92.1 FM, 1290 AM, online at WNBF.com.
News Radio 1290 WNBF.
And the calls just keep on coming. Let's go to Shenango County. Doug and Green, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. I've been listening and we're talking about the judge there and this gag order that Donald Trump has against him. I'm just wondering if the judge is so fair and everything. How come, if it was me up there in front of him, I would have been put in jail the very first time, not being allowed like 10 or 12 different times, to he's getting fined $1,000, but money doesn't seem to matter. So he's just doing whatever he wants. If he's a good judge, I think he should have threw him in jail already.
Well, that's probably true. The thing is, as I've mentioned earlier in the week, which would be on Monday's program, judge knows if he throws the defendant in jail, he'll just use that to raise more money from his loyal supporters.
Oh, I see.
It's a balancing act. You're right. Anybody else, me or you or any other American who was pulling this stunt, would be in jail already, and the key would have been thrown away.
Yeah.
No other judge would take this kind of behavior. And, the judge is in a difficult spot because, again, the defendant would raise millions of dollars as soon as there's a picture of him in a jail cell, and then he would start crying even harder that the judge is being unfair. That's unfortunately the situation. I appreciate your call, and I understand this is the first time you've called.
Yes, it is.
Thank you. I hope you call again.
Yep. Thank you very mumuch.
It's 9:58, Tioga County. Paul in Owego, you're on the air.
Hey, Bob. Good morning. It's a beautiful morning in sunny Owego.
Yeah, I heard they're going to have the Strawberry Festival next month.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Get all the clowns out. We got a real circus here. It's a good time. It's been good for the community. Not good for the local businesses, but it's good for the circus people. Bob, I was at the Treadway. I nearly bought $10,000 of the items there. And last Saturday, first time for everything, Paul got arrested.
How did that happen?
Well, it's a comedy. It's Comedy Central. We got all these new kids from Long Island. They're a little on the green side. The state troopers arrested me. I reported a burglary, and they accosted me and they told me I had to get out of the place. I have a written contract with the contractor. We have an agreement with a verbal agreement with Jim Mead, the auctioneer.
Right, to get the stuff you bought. Hey, unfortunately, we're out of time for this segment. We have the news coming right up. So if you want to call back in sometime after the news, okay? Because the news waits for no one. I was just over there at the Owego Treadway last night taking a look. It's 10 o'clock. This is WNBF.
Where news breaks first. News Radio 1290 WNBF.
This is News Radio 1290 WNBF News. It'll be sunny today with a high near 78. Tonight, a chance of showers and thunderstorms with a low around 58. Partly sunny Wednesday with a chance of showers and thunderstorms and a high near 80. Donald Trump returns to his hush money trial, facing a threat of jail time for additional gag order violations as prosecutors gear up to summon big-name witnesses in the final weeks of the case. Those witnesses include Stormy Daniels, the porn actor who has said she had a sexual encounter with Trump, and Michael Cohen, the former Trump lawyer and personal fixer, who prosecutors say paid her to keep silent in the final weeks of the 2016 presidential campaign. They are among those who have yet to take the stand, but are expected to in coming weeks. Testimony resumes today. Police were called to the store in Gannett Drive around 12:50 p.m. Sunday to investigate the assault of a 69-year-old man in Johnson City. Investigators said when officers arrived at the scene, the man reported he had been randomly assaulted while he was shopping. Officers spoke with witnesses in the Walmart and reviewed the store surveillance video recordings. The video showed a man approach the shopper and then started to punch him until he fell to the ground. Then the attacker was seen stopping the victim in the head with his foot. The suspect, identified by police as 33-year-old Angel Vasquez, was charged with third-degree assault in connection with the store attack. According to a news release, Vasquez became extremely violent at police headquarters. Several officers struggled to subdue him. As he was being moved to a holding cell, Vasquez allegedly grabbed a police officer by the neck and began choking him. The officer sustained minor injuries but did not seek medical treatment. The shopper who was attacked was treated at a local hospital. Vasquez was charged with second-degree assault upon a police officer. He also faces counts of criminal obstruction of breathing and obstructing governmental administration. Vasquez was arraigned and sent to the Broome County Jail on $500 bail. Authorities say a man who tried to shoot a pastor during a service at a Pennsylvania church because God told him to do it was thwarted when his gun didn't fire and he was tackled by a congregant. State police say the chaos at the Jesus Dwelling Place Church in North Braddock, Pennsylvania, happened Sunday while the service was being live streamed. They say 26-year-old Bernard Polite of Braddock entered the church just after 1 p.m. and walked toward the front while the Reverend Glenn Germany was giving a sermon. The pastor says Polite smiled at him. They made eye contact just before Polite pointed the gun at him. Germany then ducked out of the way as a male congregant subdued Polite. New York State is suing an anti-abortion group and almost a dozen pregnancy counseling centers for allegedly promoting an unproven method to reverse medication abortions. Attorney General Letitia James filed the suit in Manhattan on Monday against Heartbeat International and 11 pregnancy centers. The case follows a similar lawsuit in California and other legal action in states such as Colorado regarding unsubstantiated treatments to reverse medication abortions. The so-called abortion pill reversal treatment has not been approved by federal regulators, and major medical associations have warned that the protocol is unproven and unscientific. In a statement, Heartbeat International said the lawsuit is a clear attempt to censor speech. Another Broome County location is being planned for 7 Brew, a national chain of drive-through coffee shops. The next shop is being proposed for a site on Front Street in the town of Shenango. Kelly Oven, a partner that has been granted franchise rights in the Binghamton area, said no definite opening date has been set for the new 7 Brew location. The site being considered is at 1322 Upper Front Street between Route 11 and Quinn Road. The drive-through coffee shop would be built just north of a Lowe's home improvement store. The first 7 Brew shop in the northeastern United States opened last September on Plaza Drive just south of the Vestal Parkway. Oven is a member of the Partnership Brew Family Development LLC that is working to expand 7 Brew operations into New York and Pennsylvania. Oven said if there are no unforeseen delays in obtaining local or state government approvals, the Front Street location could open by the end of the year. That's a look at news. For updates on local news, weather, sports, and features, open up the WNBF app and WNBF.com. This is News Radio 1290 WNBF.
From the Galt Auto Studios, this is WNBF News Radio AM 1290. Also available at 92.1 FM. Reserve your new Toyota at Galt Toyota.
Hi.
I'm Bob Joseph. You're listening to the Tuesday edition of Binghamton Now. Yes, it's Tuesday, May 7th. Coming up in a bit, we'll have more of your phone calls. Coming up, though, a special live segment with the Endicott Mayor, Nick Burlingame, on News Radio.
WNBF.
We are rejoined on the program by Nick Burlingame, Mayor of the Village of Endicott. Thanks for being back with us on our program.
Thanks, Bob. Good morning.
Morning. A lot going on in my favorite village.
Yes, lots of progress.
So let's first give people an update on the Washington Avenue project that is now fully underway. This has been underway for, I think, a couple of weeks, and I've been on the avenue a few times since the construction work began. Tell us where things stand as the initial phase of the construction work moves forward.
Yeah, so we just had our first construction meeting, and the contractor says that we are right on schedule as of now, so that's good news. They are working on the water lines and laterals block by block. So right now, one block at a time is closed, and they're replacing the main water main and the laterals. And once that's completely finished, they will start closing one half of the avenue at a time. They'll do the sidewalks and the pavement and all that, and then they'll switch it to the other side. But as of right now, everything is on target, and things are going smooth, so we're very pleased.
So how are people coping with the traffic pattern changes, both motorists and also the businesses who will do their best, obviously, to keep things going forward as this project continues over the next several months?
Yeah, I think people are adapting to the traffic patterns. They're excited for the progress. They're excited for the redevelopment. It's obviously a little difficult on the businesses. It's certainly an inconvenience. And some people are afraid to, or not even afraid, they just don't want to subject themselves to going into construction. But, you know, there's plenty of parking. I encourage everyone to go out, support these businesses. I was talking to my wife, and I said, we're going to be eating Washington Ave all summer long. So better enjoy it. So,
yeah, I just had dinner on Washington Avenue a few days ago, and the restaurant where I went out for a great dinner was really busy, and I was glad to see that because
great.
You never know. And to your point, I mean, some people, and this happens anywhere. I mean, we've seen street improvement projects and infrastructure projects in Binghamton, Johnson City, Vestal. Obviously, when these projects are underway, there's a big impact on drivers and businesses, and I don't think there's any way of avoiding it, but it is important, and we always stress when there's a project around the Triple Cities to remember that these businesses are still operating, and do your best, even if it means taking a slightly different route, or in the case of many of the Washington Avenue businesses, parking behind the business in one of the lots and entering not through the front door as you might normally do it. Keep supporting the businesses.
That's right.
Now, one of the things that some people have brought out, and obviously people love the Apple Festival, the Apple Fest in Endicott. I enjoyed it last September, and then we learned within the last week or so that, unfortunately, that is not going to happen this year.
Yeah, we're really disappointed and sad about that. The village does not run this event ourselves. It's a group of people led by Monica Jordan. She does a great job. It's a terrific festival. I sat down with Monica and the team, and we explored dozens of alternate areas, and we supported them as much as we could. We wanted them to continue this festival without breaking a year, but unfortunately, they did make the decision to not go forward with the Apple Fest this year, because there's a lot that goes into it that I guess I didn't even realize. How much water they needed, how much electricity. So it's not just space. We have a lot of space, but we did not have all of the features or the amenities that Washington Avenue has. So it's disappointing, but we're certainly going to support them next year, and they'll have a new Ave, and things should go well from there.
Were there any other potentially viable sites that were seriously considered before ultimately the organizers made the decision not to hold it this year?
Yeah, they looked at parking lots on each side of the avenue. One spot they were really serious about was, I'm going to call it the Village Square, Park Street, Lincoln, between the fire department, police department, municipal building, library, and visitor center. They kind of wanted to take up that whole block area, the whole common, but it just, unfortunately, they struggled with parking. Parking was a big concern for that location, and water and electricity. It's tough.
It's 10:16. We're talking with Endicott Mayor Nick Burlingame. Well, on the bright side, as you alluded to, the avenue will be looking, I'm sure, quite nice in September of next year. So the organizers have time to bring back the festival that I know they expect will be bigger and better than ever. And sometimes just a break, I think, will help re-energize not just the organizers, but even some participants. Sometimes you don't appreciate something until it's gone, and this way you say, well, we sacrificed by not having it in 2024, but then we'll perhaps have a greater appreciation for the event when it's back next year.
I agree, and we were sad to hear the news, and I know as sad as we are, the event organizers, they're just as sad as us. So it's they put in a lot of hard work and dedication to this event every year.
Would also be happening in terms of any street improvements, repaving, or any other infrastructure work around Endicott during this construction season. What I always realize around here is because of the weather, we have a relatively short window where a lot of projects have to be done, because if you don't start them in the spring, you may have to wrap it up by December 1st or sometimes even sooner. Are there any other significant projects that the village residents should look forward to over the next few months?
Yeah, we have a list of roads that need some repair, that we're going to be doing some water infrastructure and street paving on. Our village engineer keeps track of that. We kind of keep politics out of that, so it's a fair process. So I don't really have a hand in deciding which streets are paved when. But there's a list, and we're looking to do it. I do know that the road that leads to the Southern Tier Community Center is set to be done this year. That is one road I'm familiar with that we're going to do this summer after NYSEG does some gas lines underneath the street. So
that's what goes from the area near the high school, from the south end of Washington Avenue down toward what used to be the Boys and Girls Club building, down to their parking lot and down to the level of the football field at Ty Cobb Stadium.
Yeah, exactly.
It's 10:19. We're live and local, chatting with Endicott Mayor Nick Burlingame. You mentioned water infrastructure and some work that'll be done over the coming months during the summer. Anything new in terms of the efforts to finally get the new water well online? I know we've talked about it frequently, and I think we'll always strive to give people updates because it's such an important project to ensuring a better and steady water supply for Endicott water customers. Where do things stand with efforts to get that future well operational on Watson Boulevard near the old IBM Country Club?
We're finally making some forward movement there. We have been in close contact with the current property owner. The village is looking to purchase that property. The engineering firm, Hunt Engineers, has done the site plan, what we want the new pump station to look like. And we can expect to see some movement on there this calendar year. I expect to acquire the property and, with any luck, start construction possibly this calendar year.
And once construction starts, what guidance have you been given by the people doing the planning and engineering work for the project? How long would the construction likely take?
We're not totally sure on that yet. We haven't got that far. There's a lot of factors that play in part. One of them is the water main that Johnson City owns. Do we try to purchase that from Johnson City, or do we install our own new water main? So there's a lot of things that will play into it. We just have to determine what's best for the Endicott water customers.
So is Endicott in the process right now of having some discussions with the counterparts in Johnson City about how to approach that?
So it was, we talked a little bit about it with the last administration. I have not talked to Johnson City yet. We did have a general price from them. I can't remember exactly what it is. We're weighing right now the useful life left in their water main versus the price of building a new one. So there's a lot to consider, and I will certainly rely on the engineers for their opinions on that.
1022 on WNBF. I'm Bob Joseph, chatting with the mayor of Endicott, Nick Burlingame. Seems that for the last few years at least, maybe longer, we have heard so much talk about the imminent demolition of the old Endicott building group, the IBM buildings to the east of McKinley Avenue. I believe there are 5 buildings that are going to be eventually torn down. And I know a lot of people are saying, well, we've heard all the news reports, so why are they still standing there? So I guess it's a pretty blunt but simple question. Why are those buildings still standing there? They've not been used, obviously, for several years. And with each passing week or each passing day, they look even worse.
Yeah, I think there's a lot that went into the buildings. Obviously, the infrastructure that runs through the underground tunnels, that was a big hurdle. And also the property owner had a little apprehension about the state funding. They were worried that there was a possibility they'd have to pay it back if certain things didn't happen. But they finally talked to New York State, and New York State put all their concerns at ease, and they are moving forward with the demolition. I did speak to a representative from Phoenix not terribly long ago, and they are making progress, and I would expect to see these buildings down in 2024.
All right. Well, I guess that would be called cautious optimism.
Yes. Yes.
All right. Also, part of the Huron campus, still plenty of unanswered questions about the what's supposed to be a gigafactory, a battery gigafactory. Doesn't seem like they're producing any batteries. I don't know that they are shipping any batteries at this point, and some people question the long-term viability of IM3 New York. What, if anything, are you hearing as mayor of Endicott about what's going on with the battery factory that should have been churning out lots of batteries by this point?
Well, I really don't have any updates on that. I've heard the rumors just like everyone else. I have recently toured the factory and spoke to some representatives there. I think they're making some positive steps forward, and they believe they're viable. And they have my full support. They are they're a startup. They're here in Endicott, and I hope for their success. And I'm going to remain cautiously optimistic yet again. But they seem positive. So we'll see.
All right. Well, we'll keep our fingers crossed because I haven't been able to connect with anybody from the company in months, and so that I find that to be of concern. That they used to give us occasional updates on their project and their efforts moving forward to develop the Gigafactory, and now it's essentially radio silence, and I'm not sure that's a good sign.
Yeah, interesting.
It's 10:25 at WNBF. When I spoke with you a few days ago, of course, I asked you about all sorts of spots around the village, including the Kmart building, the old Endicott Plaza that's been basically non-productive since September of 2011 when the building, that western portion of the property that used to be the Endicott Plaza, sustained water damage from the flooding. And you mentioned when we spoke on Friday that there is a possibility of some redevelopment and, in fact, possibly using that as park space. Did you have a chance to discuss that with the members of the village board last night?
We did discuss it. This property presents several challenges. As you kind of mentioned, it's situated on the former site of the Endicott Johnson Tannery dump, which means the ground will likely further settle, and it's prone to flooding. For the past 15 or so years, we've hoped for the property to somehow vanish on its own or disappear, and it hasn't happened. I think we always wish someone will buy it and turn it into something better than it currently is. But the reality is the odds are stacked against the property. At the moment, my goal is simply to take action rather than do nothing. I have 4 years, and I'm going to do everything I can to improve this community. With that being said, it's not solely my decision. It's something that the village board will need to decide. But before they do that, they're certainly going to have to do a lot of due diligence. We're going to have to talk to DEC to determine if our idea is healthy or feasible, or if they have any better recommendations for the site. I mean, I want to stress that we are basically in the idea stage. No decisions have been made by the board, but I am happy that we are talking about this. We have opened the conversation, and we are trying to be proactive instead of reactive. And there's a lot to take in with this project, and we're going to really have to do a lot of homework to ensure the safety of our residents, our water customers, and see if this is viable at all.
What about Green Mountain Electric Supply? That's the Vermont company that got stuck with this 17-acre site. They paid $1 million for it just over a year ago, and just a few weeks later, after they were doing some testing, they learned it wasn't going to be suitable for a distribution hub that they wanted to set up there. Is the village going to have some discussion with Green Mountain to see what might be worked out as efforts go forward to finally deal with what has been such a big eyesore for that neighborhood for so long?
Yeah, so Green Mountain, they've had the property actively listed for sale. They've been advertising it. And from my understanding, they have had very little interest in the property. So we had a meeting with them, and they're certainly interested in possibly donating this property to the village if the village is so inclined. So we're just working through it to make sure it's the right move for the residents of Endicott and the municipality as a whole. But I think if we have an opportunity to fix this, it's not just an eyesore. It's a brownfield. It's a landfill. It's and unfortunately, it's right in the heart of Endicott, right in the heart of our village. So it has a lot of eyes on it and attention at all times.
Well, and that's the thing. You look all around it. To the west, you've got Jenny F. Snap Middle School. To the north, you have the residential neighborhood, just a few feet or a few yards from the property line. And then over to the south, you've got some businesses, the McDonald's and the funeral home. And then over to the east, over on Harrison Street, the old Philadelphia Sales Building. But it is right in the heart of that neighborhood. And then, since 2011, just to see this big plot of land just idle. About a year ago, when I was talking with Broome County Executive Jason Gardner about this, he said on the program in May of last year, almost a year to the day, that he was hoping somehow that place, building, the old Kmart, could be demolished by the end of 2023. I mean, he was pretty blunt. He said people shouldn't have to look at that crap. And it is sad when you drive by there that, there we see it, and a lot of us still have memories not just of Kmart, but the other thriving businesses that were part of that plaza for many decades over on the east side of the property.
Yeah.
1030 WNBF and WNBF.com. I'm Bob Joseph. We're talking about the village of Endicott with the mayor, Nick Burlingame. As far as public safety, anything new with respect to the Endicott Police Department that village residents should be aware of?
The village board has been investing heavily in our Endicott Police Department to ensure safety for all residents, and we're taking it a step further. We believe in providing our officers with the necessary training to make their jobs more efficient and effective. So I think we've seen a lot of progress there. I know that our officers, they're making a lot of traffic stops. They're being more proactive than reactive, which is a nice change. And I think crime is certainly on the decline in Endicott, and we want to continue that trend.
In your conversations with the police chief, Patrick Gary, what do you think the biggest challenges are at the moment for the village police department in ensuring overall public safety and dealing with the crimes that do occur in the village?
Chief Gary will always say manpower. Always.
And that's probably true for almost any police chief.
That's right. Yep, it's always manpower, and they're in the best spot now that they've been in probably 20 years. But in his mind, it's certainly not enough. If he's listening, I hear you. We're doing what we can. We can only expand the department so far within reason, because anytime we add additional manpower, it's certainly a cost to village residents. So we try to increase the force, but at the same time, remember, who's paying for this.
Well, that's one of the tough things when it comes to Binghamton, Johnson City, and Endicott, with both full-time paid police departments and full-time paid fire departments. Those public safety sectors of the budget represent a significant amount of the spending that happens every year to ensure public safety when it comes to policing and fire protection.
But it's worth every penny. Worth every penny.
One thing from a public safety standpoint, and it's true in Endicott, true of almost all the communities around here, they're problem spots. They're places where people gather where, hate to say it, they're up to no good. We had that high-profile case on Monroe Street, 1000 Monroe, where finally Village had enough and went to court to get a lockdown order. I'm guessing that property remains under lockdown and just sitting there since the lockdown was approved, I think, last September by the court.
Yes. It's just sitting there right now vacant. We suspect that it will at some point go for tax sale with the county. And at that point, hopefully, someone will purchase it and either remodel it, or if they don't, I will certainly advocate for its demolition.
What about other potential problem spots? I'm sure that wasn't the only place that was on the radar of village police and code enforcement officials. Are there any other similar spots that may need that type of action at some point, where there's been a history of criminal activity as well as questions just overall about the use and condition of the property?
Yeah, so a lot of times in this situation, it's the same group of people. We kick them out of 1000 Monroe. We lock that property down, but then they migrate to another location. So we're constantly on the attack. We're constantly enforcing our laws and trying to eradicate them from our neighborhoods because of their law-breaking mentality. So last night at the board meeting, we actually are starting the legal proceedings on another property directly across from the Jenny F. Snap Middle School. It's my understanding that it's the same people from 1000 Monroe. They have migrated to that location and causing the same disturbances and disruptiveness there. And obviously, due to its location to the middle school, we have to take action. So we started that last night. The village board approved it.
And what's the address for that property? Do you recall?
I do not recall off the top of my head.
It's on Loader Avenue, though?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, South Loader, yep.
All right. Yeah, I'm familiar with the neighborhood, having been well educated for a couple of years at Jenny F. Snap. I know that one other thing that's sort of semi-related to this topic is the whole problem of squatters. And I'm sure you've heard about what's going on in Binghamton with some problem issues, whether it's criminal trespass or vandalism, and in some cases, more recently, some fires that certainly didn't set themselves, where people were inside supposedly vacant homes, and whether they set a fire to cook or to keep warm or whatever, there definitely have been some serious public safety issues related to squatters in Binghamton. What is the situation now in Endicott? Do you have a similar problem in some sections of the village?
Yeah, we do. We have a couple locations that potentially has some squatters in there, and it's not just a problem in Endicott or Binghamton. I think it's a statewide crisis, and I know municipalities like Endicott, we're working very hard to prevent this from happening, and once they're in there, sometimes it does pose a challenge to get them out, but we're doing everything within our power to ensure that it doesn't happen in the first place.
It's almost time to open up the village parks. Anything that people should know about park season? Because I'm assuming that parks around the village will open for the season at the end of this month.
Yeah, I haven't heard the official date, but yes, they should be opening any time now, and we look forward to enjoying them. We have some beautiful parks in the village, from the north side to Mercero. There's some nice spots around here, so we hope the public all gets out and enjoys them. And, rides the carousel. The carousel should be opening soon as well. That's always fun to hear the music and the children laughing, and it's a great time.
One thing that happened last year at the park on the north side, I still call it the Z pool because when we were kids, it was a Z pool. Now it looks more like an L pool at Northside Park. But there were some issues last August at the swimming pool. And in fact, the pool was closed for a time because of a few people engaging in bad behavior and causing trouble. I guess at least one lifeguard was hurt in an incident at the end of last July. So some things had to be changed. And I know the village put in at least one, maybe more than one camera to help monitor what's going on at the pool at the Northside Park. Any thoughts on what's going to happen with that pool and the operations this year that should begin hopefully in the not too distant future?
Yeah, so I expect the pool to open as planned. We have installed some cameras and insulated some safety policies to ensure worker safety, and if there's any issues, they have radios and whatnot so we can communicate more effectively. So hopefully we don't have any issues. It's a community park. We want to keep it open. We want the public to enjoy it. And hopefully we don't get the issues that we had last year. I tend to believe that it was a fluke situation because we haven't really had many issues in the past. But the pool staff certainly needed some support from the village. So we're happy to provide that because their well-being is obviously our priority, along with the safety of the patrons.
And so many of those people serving as lifeguards or working in other capacities at the pool, I mean, they're young people. They're high school age or college age, and it's difficult when they're in a situation where a small group of people at the pool are causing problems for everyone else.
Yeah, it is unfortunate.
Endicott Mayor Nick Burlingame, thanks for answering a few questions this morning. We'll keep in touch. And as always, if you have any urgent announcements or new initiatives for Endicott, you can get in touch with us.
All right. Thank you, Bob. Have a great day.
You too. It's 1040. This is News Radio, WNBF, bringing you the information you're not likely to get elsewhere. 607-772-1290 is our number. Do you have thoughts? If you do, feel free to call. We're live on a Tuesday morning, 92.1 FM, 1290 AM, online at WNBF.com. He probably could appeal and slam the brakes on his trial, which, again, is so typical. You know, so many of these trials could already have taken place except for his legal strategy. And then he's like, he's the best victim in the world because he's victimized himself. Then he cries, oh, I should be out on the campaign trail now, not stuck in this chilly courtroom. I should be out campaigning and holding rallies. Well, he could have. You know, this trial didn't have to be going on in May of this year, but because of his deny and delay tactics, that's why it's playing out in the spring when, truthfully, he should be out on the campaign trail.
Bob, you know, and if he loses in appeals court, he can go to the Supreme Court.
I know, and that's the thing. And he has stacked the Supreme Court, so, you know, therein lies the rub. Ultimately, since he has appointed so many of his fans to be on the Supreme Court, ultimately, any of these cases that ultimately eventually go to appeal and wind up before the Supremes, yeah, they're going to probably be decided in his favor because he appointed his buddy boys.
Yeah.
Well, not just buddy boys, his buddies.
The judge can sentence him to jail after the trial, too, Bob, and that's probably the only way he'd do it because there's no way the Democrats want this trial stopped.
No, of course, but nobody except for the defendant want it stopped. All of America wants this trial just to get over. I am so sick and tired of hearing about hush money and some movie star. I don't want to hear about this. It's tacky, it's sordid, it's disgusting. And the sooner that we get past this and get on with more relevant cases like the one in Georgia, the better off the nation will be.
That won't be happening.
I know. You don't need to tell me. I get it. He has managed to deny and delay. I mean, does he work for one of those insurance companies? Come on, man. Anyway, thank you for your call. I fully support a defendant to use every available legal strategy. He has every right to deny and delay because he's got the money to do it. If it was anyone else on the planet, not anyone else, obviously Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, billionaires can deny and delay and basically use every legal trick they can afford to put off the inevitable. Most of us would already have gone through the trial and had the verdict by now because we don't have the money. Actually, most of us probably would have just reached a plea agreement, not necessarily because we were guilty of anything, but just because the public defender, the only lawyer we could afford, would tell us, all I can tell you is my best advice under these circumstances, agree to a plea and get this behind you. There's justice for us, and then there's justice for billionaires. This is the USA. I'm Bob Joseph, Binghamton Now. At 10:55, we're just having a good time here on the radio. If you can't have a good time on the radio, what really can you have? Speaking of good times, the weather is summer-like, summer-y, summer-esque. At least for today. Here's our forecast from the National Weather Service. Sunny, 78. Tonight, cloudy, showers and thunderstorms, 58. Partly sunny tomorrow with a chance of showers and thunderstorms, mainly late in the day, 80. Thursday, showers and a thunderstorm, 65. Right now in downtown Binghamton, it's 64. That's 18 Celsius at News Radio, WNBF. Some guidance from the folks staring at the weather models and looking at all the data as it pours in to their office high atop Mount Ettrick. Showers and embedded thunderstorms are in the forecast for tonight, but any storms are not expected to be severe. So that is the word for tonight. For tomorrow, though thunderstorms are expected to be isolated, a few may contain damaging wind gusts and hail. There is a marginal risk for a severe thunderstorm or two tomorrow. So I'll monitor that closely, and I'll sound the code red weather. We need like a weather bell. Oh no, that's a trademark. We need like a weather gong for when there's a possibility of severe weather. It's 10:57. It is Tuesday morning. You're listening to Binghamton Now with Bob Joseph on WNBF.
This is News Radio 1290 AM, WNBF Binghamton. Now on 92.1 FM, W221 EJ Binghamton, a Town Square Media.
Where news breaks first. News Radio 1290 WNBF.
This is News Radio 1290 WNBF News. Sunny today, high near 78. Tonight, a chance of showers and thunderstorms, low around 58. Wednesday, partly sunny with a chance of showers and thunderstorms and a high near 80. Authorities say a man suspected of a vicious attack on a shopper inside the Johnson City Walmart store also tried to choke a village police officer. Police were called to the store in Gannett Drive around 12:50 p.m. Sunday to investigate the assault on a 69-year-old man. Investigators said when officers arrived at the scene, the man reported he had been randomly assaulted while he was shopping. Officers spoke with witnesses and reviewed the store's surveillance video recordings. The video showed a man approached the shopper and then started to punch him until he fell to the ground. Then the attacker was seen stomping on the victim in the head with his foot. The suspect, identified by police as 33-year-old Angel Vasquez, was charged with third-degree assault in connection with the store attack. According to a news release, Vasquez became extremely violent at police headquarters. Several officers struggled to subdue him. As he was being moved to a holding cell, Vasquez allegedly grabbed the police officer by the neck and began choking him. The officer sustained minor injuries but did not seek medical treatment. The shopper who was attacked was treated at a local hospital. Vasquez was charged with second-degree assault upon a police officer, a felony. He also faces counts of criminal obstruction of breathing and obstruction of governmental administration. Vasquez was arraigned and sent to the Broome County Jail on $500 bail. On May 4th, investigators from the Binghamton Police Department assigned to the New York State Division of Criminal Justice Services Gun-Involved Violence Elimination Initiative conducted a traffic stop on a vehicle reported stolen from Port Authority of New York and New Jersey Police Department in the area of Rollison Street and Water Street in Binghamton. A 17-year-old juvenile fled on foot from the vehicle and was pursued and apprehended. Investigators located the juvenile with a loaded 9mm Ghost handgun and a high-capacity 9mm handgun magazine. A Ghost handgun is an unregistered and untraceable homemade handgun that is not marked with the serial number. The 17-year-old Binghamton man was charged with criminal possession of a weapon in the second degree, criminal possession of a weapon in the third degree, criminal possession of a firearm, criminal possession of a weapon in the fourth degree, and obstructing governmental administration. On February 27th of 2023, it was announced that the Greater Binghamton Airport would be awarded $7 million in federal funding for terminal upgrades through the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act Airport Terminal Program. At that time, Representative Mark Molinaro noted that the improvements included reconstructing the passenger hold room, replacing HVAC equipment and with reliable and energy-efficient units, installing 2 new passenger boarding bridges, and expanding its exterior canopy. On Monday, he announced Greater Binghamton Airport will receive an additional $3 million in federal funding for airport terminal upgrades from the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act Airport Terminal Program. The additional funds will go to expanding the Greater Binghamton Airport's passenger hold room, along with the other projects that will soon begin or are already underway. Jason Garner, the Broome County executive, noted that the award of these funds shows strong partnership with the state and federal officials. It's put on full display the importance and impact of this project in our community. The judge presiding over Donald Trump's hush money trial has fined him $1,000 and warned of jail time for future gag order violations. The reprimand Monday opened a relative day of testimony as jurors for the first time heard the details of the financial reimbursements at the center of the case and saw payment checks bearing Trump's signature. Jeffrey McConney, of the former Trump Organization controller, explained how the company reimbursed payments meant to suppress embarrassing stories during the 2016 presidential campaign. The testimony concerns a $130,000 payment from Trump attorney and personal fixer Michael Cohen to porn actor Stormy Daniels to stifle her claims of an extramarital sexual encounter with Trump a decade earlier. That's a look at news. For updates on local news, weather, sports, and features, open up the WNBF app and online at WNBF.com. This is News Radio 1290 WNBF.
From the Galt Auto Studios, this is WNBF News Radio AM 1290. Also available at 92.1 FM. We sell the ultimate driving machine at Galt BMW.
I'm Bob Joseph. This is the Tuesday edition of Binghamton Now. It's live, it's local, and it features people just like you when you call 607-772-1290. Go ahead and call, and you can talk live on Binghamton Now.
WNBF.
Martin from Binghamton, you're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Bob. Yeah, I'm going to talk about two things, quick, two people, quick. Christy Nome, I don't know if you've seen her on morning show, CBS, Face the Nation, and she was talking about her new book entitled "No Going Back." And I saw her last night also talking about the title describes that there's no going back to the old politics, that this is the new politics, which is no decorum, like with Trump and how they are. There's no decorum. It's crass. It's disgusting. In her book, she was, she shot the dog, and because it was 14 months old and said she couldn't control it or whatever. And Margaret Benner was saying, well, she's very young. Those dogs can be trained. And like Cesar Millan says too, there's no bad dogs, there's only bad owners. And there was hope for that freaking dog. And then the other title of a chapter was called "Bad Day to Be a Goat." And she's talking about when
did she kill a goat too?
Yeah, and not only that.
So what? She has a record of killing animals.
Yeah, you didn't know that about the.
Well, I heard about the dog, and I'm sickened. I don't even really want to talk about it. I'm sickened that a governor in this great land of ours could write about killing her dog.
Yes, and then going on and about a goat too, and entitled the chapter "Bad Day to Be a Goat." And then she talked about that if she went to the White House and saw Biden's dog, she would say to the dog, well, say hello to Cricket, meaning she'd blow the dog away.
Yeah, we know what she meant. We know exactly. Yeah. Here is the sad thing. According to Wikipedia, it said Rolling Stone reported sources close to the former guy said even that guy was disgusted by the story of her killing her dog. Now, it takes quite a bit of work to get the former guy to be disgusted by anything.
Well, he lies, and he's still invited her down. And he called her, he had some metaphor for her, but he called her, he was praising her this weekend. That was. But
not for killing dogs.
No, not for killing dogs. No, but as a person. But how could you be a decent person if you're shooting a puppy?
It's totally indecent. It's totally inexcusable, and I, for one, find that behavior deplorable.
Yes, and the other part I want to talk about was about why you can't imprison him. You could put him in jail for a weekend. You could put him in there. You could call it.
Why don't they just put him in for 60 minutes? Just the judge could sentence him from Sunday night at 7 and let him out at 8 just for 60 minutes and force him to watch that show. Force him to watch 60 minutes worth of Leslie Stahl interviews in the cell and then let him out.
Yeah, but he deserves, for what he's done to us. I mean, for 8 years, he's just trying to be the center of attention. He just loves that. And you said the word disgusting. I'm just so disgusted with just watching this guy go on. And he couldn't be more guilty of these charges. It's a shame that they're dragging this out. I mean, the phone call to Georgia. I need so many votes. I need 11,000 votes.
Yeah, but say what you will about that. And although it is very likely, I think illegal, what he said, at least he was honest. He was honest. In that case, I think they got him on tape being honest. He actually said how many votes he needed. So it's probable. I'm not talking about the legality of it. I'm talking about one of those rare instances where we have captured him on tape being honest. How many other tapes do we have of him being honest?
Well, I don't know about that. Yeah, he's being honest, but he's still breaking the law.
I acknowledge that it's probably illegal, but give him at least a silver star for being honest. He needed those votes. He not only did he want and crave those votes, he needed those votes. So in that phone call, and Lordy, thank goodness that whoever recorded that pushed record. What if we didn't have that tape? None of this would be even discussed. People would have said, well, he said in the phone conversation he needed this many votes, and he would have just lied and said, I never said such a thing.
Yeah, well, we could scrap that, but then move on to the next two. Stacks and stacks of boxes. He was being implored to turn them in. He had adequate time. He had a year to turn them in, and they're stacked all over the place, even in the head, And then, of course, January 6th, unless we fight, we're not going to have a government. We're not going to have a government. And to sit there and watch and to see, they talk about policemen. The Republicans are all about, decorum and law and order, but they 4 or 5 people had died, and a couple of policemen had died. But they don't give a crap about that. And now if he gets in, what's he want to do? He wants to pardon all those people. They're not prisoners. They're hostages, Bob. They're hostages of the government. Yeah, that's right. Going through the Capitol and trying to break into the Senate or into the rooms and threatening everybody and threatening Mike Pence. We all know what time it is as far as that goes. But you said before, delay and delay and delay. And that's, he's just tactical. They're lucky. They had the money.
Sure. But, if you have the money, you can delay it until witnesses no longer available, or even if you delay it enough, sometimes even prosecutors will start to lose interest and probably say, at this point, why even go forward? Everybody is so tired of it, sick and tired of this. It's stretched out not just weeks or months, but years. So people sometimes get fed up, and I bet that's another thing. He's hoping that some of the prosecutors, state and federal prosecutors, eventually lose interest. But I'll tell you this, Martin, I don't think they're going to lose interest.
No, we can't do that. We can't.
I know. No, you know what my theory about this great country is? No one is above the law.
Yes.
And I mean it. It's not just something I say on the radio. No one is above the law. And that includes the former guy, the current guy, and any future guys.
Yeah, we put Nixon on that helicopter, and he had to go.
Yeah, we paid all expense trip from 1600 out to San Clemente, and I, for one, as an American taxpayer, I was glad to contribute to that flight.
Yes, certainly.
The only thing that would have made it better is if the helicopter had been produced by people here in the Southern Tier, by the great men and women who work at Lockheed Martin and Owego. But alas, they weren't involved with the presidential helicopter program back in 1974. But that would have made it all the sweeter.
Yeah, well, they are now, and we certainly get...
I commend them for their... Even after they were figuratively kicked in the teeth by the discontinuation of the first Marine One contract, they persevered. They did the smart thing. Lockheed Martin did the smart thing, and they bought Sikorsky, so now they can work on the Marine One program.
Yeah,
that's what you do. It's what you do. If life hands you lemonade, go out and buy your competitor.
Yeah, another quick thing, lies, more lies, just like that she's talking about no going back, and that's why she likes Trump, because he's lied so much. But she said she met Kim Jong-un and never did.
Yeah, I know. And her book publisher just recalled the book because they're going to have to reprint the whole thing because of that lie.
Yeah, well, bad day to be a goat. I mean, that says it all.
Yeah, it does. What a country. Thank you, Martin. It's 11:20 at WNBF. Let's take another call. I guess we have time to take another call. Good morning, WNBF. You're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, Bob, can you talk again? Can I talk again?
Oh, sure. Of course. I'll take unlimited calls today. Today only, by the way. Unlimited calls.
Okay, that guy just now, he's calling Trump a liar. He lied about January 6th. 5 cops didn't die. Where do you people get this information that is not true, and then you blow it all over to people? Those poor people of Binghamton believe this. I'm from here my whole life. I like this area. You are turning it into a New York City.
Who is? Who's turning this area into New York City?
All these liberal people.
No. This is the Triple Cities. This is in no way to be confused with liberal New York City.
You think you're funny?
No, I don't. And remember, this is unlimited calling day. Today only, folks. If you've called before, you can keep calling. Now, because of this very special offer for a limited time only, unlimited calls today only, Tuesday, May 7th, 2024. But that means if you've called before, that means each successive call is going to be relatively short, in fairness to the other viewers. Good morning, WNBF. You're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from? This is the lightning round where people call in. We'll see how many people dare to call in on unlimited calling day. Good morning, you're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, my name is Steve, and I'm from Binghamton, New York. I'm a little sick of you liberals calling in and complaining about this and that. Why don't you talk about the real issues?
Like what issues should be discussed instead of the other stuff, including this whole thing about the trial and the guy just disobeying the judge's order? What issue should be talked about instead today?
All right. This is the real issue. We're talking about immigration, high prices. Let's see if the taxes go up next year. Talk about the real issues here instead of complaining about what happened January 6th. They were after grandmothers, for Christ's sakes.
Well, I agree. Prices are too high. And I want prices to come down. I don't care who is elected in November. I want lower prices. That's my request for the next president, whoever he is. It's up to the American public. Hi, WNBF. You're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
This is Joe calling from Binghamton.
Hi, what's up?
Well, I just had a good idea. Since this country is so divided, I've got an excellent idea on how we could divide it that would probably be a good division. Why don't we have everybody that votes Democrat pay the high interest rates, the high gas prices, and everything else that goes along with the liberal way of life? And then all those that vote Republican can have the cheaper gas prices, the lower interest rate.
So like at the gas pump, they would have two prices, like the way they have now. There's one price if you pay with cash and another price if you pay with a credit card. So starting January 20th, with the new administration, Republicans would pay $2 a gallon and Democrats would pay $7 a gallon. Is that what you're saying?
Well, yeah, but then the Democrats also can't go into the gas reserves that the Republicans fill.
So what happens when the gas that's been designated for Democrats, what happens when that gas runs out?
Then the Democrats go in and use up all the gas reserves to get an artificially low gas rate so that people think, oh, see, they're bringing the gas prices down. No, they're not. Donald Trump filled those at probably $30 a barrel.
Well, he was president for 4 years.
Got to refill it now.
Okay. We'll see what the other viewers have to say. Thank you. Hi, WNBF. You're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Bob. This is Teresa from Binghamton, New York.
Good morning.
Good morning. Why don't they have a carousel drive instead of the Gannett drive?
I like it. Carousel drive.
You got carousel right down the road.
I like it.
It's surprising that nobody's had a carousel road in here.
Well, this is the
Binghamton.
carousel capital.
That's right. That's why I'm saying
All
that
right.
we don't have a carousel road.
All right, that makes sense. And Gannett moved out of Johnson City. Gannett pulled the plug on their 12-year-old printing plant, so they didn't want to have anything to do with Johnson City. So you may be onto something.
That's right.
Thank you.
And have a blessed day, Bob.
Thank you so much. 1126 with the most calls ever. We're going to set a Guinness Book record for most calls. Good morning. You're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Bob. Good morning. This is Vinny from Binghamton. I just like to comment on some of these.
All right. I have to caution you because we have so many calls flooding in. I'm only going to allocate you 60 seconds for this call, but you can call back because today is unlimited calling day.
Oh, okay. I mean, the forgetfulness of some of these people, especially you Trumpers. Don't you remember when COVID happened and your leader was up there telling jokes and stuff like that? Meanwhile, these corporations and they raised the prices. Why? Because we had a blockage at the ports, and we would go in and all the grocery stores would be empty, and so was supply and demand, and they lifted it, and they knew they could because of people like yourselves that don't know how the economy works. If you think for 1 second, if Donald Trump gets back in, that dog food, Fruit Loops, and tuna fish are going to come down, you're mistaken. It won't. It will not come down. And then who are you going to blame? I know what you're going to do.
No, then they'll blame Obama.
No, what they'll do about it, they won't say anything.
What? You mean to tell me 6 months into a second Trump term, if prices had not come down precipitously, that his supporters wouldn't call in complaining and say they were duped?
Bob, these are the children of George Bush, okay? When they knew that the war was wrong, what did they do? Nothing.
All right. 60 seconds are up, but you have the right to call in again. Again, this is a very, very special one-time only offer exclusively on WNBF. Call in as many times as you can get through at 607-772-1290. Again, if you've called before, your second, third, fourth, 10th call probably is going to be short, but, I don't know. I would stay. This is my honest pledge. If they would let me stay on till midnight just taking calls, I would. But they won't let me, so I can't. Hi, you're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Kathy Endicott.
What's up?
What's going on with this electric thing? I got a thing in the mail yesterday about how the town of Union wants to switch everybody over to some other company other than NYSEG. And if we don't want that to happen, we have to opt out. I never opted in to begin with. How is that? How can a municipality just decide, we're going to change everything over to another electric company? I don't get it.
Well,
I don't know.
I'll try to do a story. Maybe I'll do it this week. The last time so where do you actually live? Endwell?
No, Endicott.
You live in the village?
Endicott.
You live in the village of Endicott?
No.
You got that?
Not in the village. I live on Taft Avenue. I don't think
Okay, just outside. Okay. So because you live in the town of Union, they do have this opportunity, and we talked about it with the town supervisor, Robert Mack, a few weeks ago when he was on. It's all voluntary. I'm just checking here on the website. We'll try to do a story. Actually, if you go to the website, I don't know if you've checked it out. It says Town of Union Community Choice Aggregation Program, and there's more details about it there. I believe it's all voluntary, and he did talk about it. It says no obligation.
Yeah, it's not voluntary if you're telling people that they have to send in a card to opt out of it.
All right.
What they're telling you is that you're going to take this, whether you like it or not.
All right. Well, I didn't realize it was opt out. I thought when I was talking with him it was opt in.
No,
all right. Well, I'll try to find out more about that because I think I misunderstood. I thought people had to, if they wanted to take advantage of this offer, that they had to whatever. Yeah, send in a card or call someone or do something online. Okay.
When I looked at the thing, I saw the opt-out card. I went, "Whoa, wait a minute! I didn't ask for this to begin with. I'm not signing anything at this point in time because I don't know. It's just it's like getting spam."
Does it say on the card how soon you have to do something? Is there a deadline?
30. You have 30 days to do it.
All right. I'll try to look into that further, and maybe we'll have a news story on that later this week because I want to look into that further. Thank you. more calls more often at 11:30. This is Bob Joseph, your friendly radio voice who is very adept at answering calls. Hi, you're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Hello there, Bob. It's me again. I love that idea.
Isn't it great? I might do this occasionally, but I won't announce it in advance, but say just in the third hour of the program, I might make a broadcast announcement that the usual restriction, it's not a hard and fast rule, but it's a general guideline, 1 call per day. But at some point in the future, we might occasionally do this in the third hour just to, I don't know, stir things up.
What else I love, Bob? Red states live their life. Blue states live their life. To hell with the union.
What do you mean? What do you mean about the union? We support the union.
One quick question before I go, Bob. If the vote was held today, who would win?
Bernie Sanders. WNBF, you're on the air. This is the lightning round. You're on the air. Be prepared to speak fast and think fast. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Jim from Owego.
What's up, Jim?
Hey, Biden seems to be getting pretty desperate. He got a couple of endorsements the other day, one from Hamill from Star Wars and the other from Jeff Daniels, who starred in Dumb and Dumber. And I think for anybody that votes for Biden would fit that bill, Dumb and Dumber.
Okay, thanks. This is the lightning round. We've never done it before. We'll probably never be able to do it again. Hi, you're on the air. Think fast, speak fast. What's on your mind?
Hello?
Yeah, what's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Roger from Chocolat.
All right, so you got to think fast in the lightning round. What's on your mind this morning?
Okay, a couple of things quick. They're hollering about the dogs the dog that the lady put down. We put down humans every year that can't fit into society. So it's, as much as I love dogs, and everybody does, anybody that's had a pet knows they've had to put one down. The other thing is, the one caller you were speaking to earlier said all the lies that Trump said. Biden's lied about his uncle giving him a medal after a year and a half after he was dead. He lied about his son dying in Iraq.
But every president, including George Washington, has lied.
And then there's the cannibal thing, which is really neat.
Well, that's sick. That's just sick.
And then about the lawsuit, this lawsuit expired, kind of like Hunter Biden's tax deal, and they have to try to resurrect it, going around the corner this, that way, and the other thing, just for election interference. The other thing is, I didn't realize Joe Biden was a student of Putin, because just like Putin, when you have an opponent you can't beat, you try to put him in jail.
Well, yeah, I guess there is a logic to that somehow. Thank you. More calls more often, the most calls ever in a single hour. You're on WNBF. What's your first name? Where are you calling from? Hi, you're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Carol from JC.
Hey, what's up?
I want to talk about what that lady 2 callers ago saying about the opting in and opting out. I'm not on the air, am I?
Sadly, you are. Sadly, you are, because we have this loud, annoying buzz, but we can hear you. What did you have to say to her?
If people would come to the Town of Union meetings, they would know what's going on. The organization that's doing all this work has had 3 presentations already at the Town of Union meeting. And I do remember, I hope I'm not mistaken, but you have to opt in before you can opt out. And his almost exact words said, if you're not happy, you can opt right back out.
All right. Well, the other thing is, to that point, if they've had these presentations at town board meetings, how come the video isn't on the town website?
I have no idea, because I don't have the internet.
Right. I know you're not the best person to ask, but it is, I'm throwing it out there. I say any town or village or city or county or state that has an informational session about a new program, they ought to put the video online on their website so more people could see it in case they didn't go to the meeting.
Well, are those meetings, what a podcast is what? A podcast is what the meeting would have been, right?
Yeah, it would be the audio of the meeting.
Not on really?
Well, or they could do video. Most governments that are living in the 21st century put up video of their meetings. Even the city of Binghamton does it now.
Well, there's 3 gentlemen that come to, with the company. I mean, I could tell you about the what they plan on doing with the property, but I don't want to get into all that. But
Right. Okay. Well, again, there is more information about the whole concept on the Town of Union website too, and I'll also maybe later this week we'll do a special segment just with the town supervisor, just focusing on that alone, since some people have questions. Okay.
Saying about a postcard.
What happened to the postcard?
No, what happened? Because
I don't know. I didn't get a postcard, so I have no idea. But we'll try to do a segment on that later this week.
Well, part of the Town of Union, I never got a postcard.
Well, you shouldn't, because you live in the village of Johnson City.
Yes, but we are part of the Town of Union.
Right, but it's only my understanding, and maybe I am not understanding it correctly. I think it's only for people who live outside the villages. So I think people who live in Johnson City and Endicott aren't getting this option.
You think so?
I don't know. So I said I think. I don't know. Hey, if you have questions, go to the village or town board meeting. That's where the questions are answered.
Well, whoever that lady is, it's the first and third Wednesday of the month.
Yeah, maybe she's working then. That's why I say, and I'm not talking only about the Town of Union, I'm talking about every town. The Town of Union, the Town of Vestal, the Town of Windsor, the Town of Shenango, the town of everywhere, and villages in the city. Everything ought to be streamed live when it's happening, and then after it's streamed live, it ought to be archived so people who didn't see it or couldn't go to the meeting could watch it when they have time. It's the 21st century. Let's embrace it.
Okay, I'm with you.
Okay, thanks. It's 10:38 for our listeners in Chicago, 9:38 for our listeners in Denver, and 8:38 for our listener in Pacific Palisades. This is WNBF, Time Radio. No, it's not. Time Radio is WWV. This is Bob Joseph, WNBF with Binghamton Now. More calls coming up. 11:40 at WNBF. Breaking news. I know. Sounds like it's April Fool's Day, but it's really the story that's shocking the nation. I am shocked. The Boy Scouts of America are rebranding. I know you're saying, but Bob, how can they? They can, because they're the Boy Scouts of America. A new name. What do you think the new name is for Boy Scouts of America? Have you ever been to Irving, Texas? Of course you haven't. Very few people have had the honor and privilege of being in Irving, Texas, the global headquarters to the organization which we knew as the Boy Scouts of America. Now, they've gone and done it. You know, I thought I would never live to see the day that the Boy Scouts of America would change their name. And the first thing I'm thinking, well, what does President Biden have to say about this? You know, will he respond to the new name for the Boy Scouts of America? Think about it. I'll tell you in a couple of minutes what the new name is. After 114 years, they called it Boy Scouts of America. Everything was fine. Well, not everything. No, there were problems. occasionally. But now they're rebranding the Boy Scouts of America. I will tell you in a moment the new name. Even I can barely deal with this shock. Let me take a call first. So again, we'll tell you the new brand, Boy Scouts of America. This is about as bad as when HBO changed its name. Hi, WNBF. You're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, Martin again.
Oh, yeah. What's up?
Yeah, and and there's a big contingency that are Christians, the Christian nationalists, and how that you're supposed to honor mother and father and honor women. Well, you have the former guy. Why does this guy buy a teenage beauty pageant? Why does he? What's his interest there? Well, why? Because what he says, quote verbatim, I can go into the dressing room. I can check them all out. Why? Because it's my pageant, and I can get away with it. Those words, I can get away with it. That's a pervert. That's a pedophile. And grabbing women, debasing women. Look at her face. The woman that was running for president at that time. I mean, you're going against your own. You're subverting your own values to vote for this guy. And he's just a disgusting person. That's all.
All right. I was wondering what you thought of him. Okay. Thank you, Martin.
Certainly.
1144 WNBF again. The nation and even the world now reacting with shock as the Boy Scouts of America are rebranding. Yeah, I'm shocked. And I'll tell you the details coming right up. The shocking rebranding. I didn't see this coming. The only thing I can figure is they put this whole thing in front of a focus group, and the focus group of Americans just like you decided that the Boy Scouts of America, after 114 years, needs a new name. Don't worry, they haven't changed it yet. They're going to change it in 9 months. The new name will take effect on February 8th, 2025. The all-new, rebranded Boy Scouts of America. We'll talk about it in a minute. This is something I hope you'll be sitting down. And I'm thinking, is this just like some sort of thing so they can sell more uniforms and more merchandise? Is that what this is about? I don't know. I'm seeing this for the very first time. They just released it just moments ago. And sadly, I have to see this live on the air. So it's very difficult to process. But process it I shall on this Tuesday morning. Stay tuned. We'll talk about the rebranding of the Boy Scouts of America. Next thing you'll know, they'll tell us it's no longer called apple pie. And Chevrolet is going to get a new name, too. Listening to WNBF. WNBF.com.
On. News Radio 1290 WNBF.
11:48, it's breaking news from the breaking news capital of the world, the Parlor City. Bob Joseph here at the breaking news desk. When news breaks, we fix it. All right, here it is. This is not a joke. It's not a test. Boy Scouts of America have just announced that it will rebrand. Sit down, kids. If you're driving or operating heavy machinery, hold on to the controls. The organization is rebranding. The new name will be Scouting America. They've dropped the word boy. Boy Scouts of America will fade into the past on February 8th, 2025. According to the official announcement just released in Irving, Texas. Actually, it was released, I think, in Florida because they're having an annual meeting right now in Florida. It says it's reflecting the organization's ongoing commitment to welcome every youth and family in America to experience the benefits of scouting. Change will take effect on February 8th, the organization's 115th anniversary. So it was fun while it lasted, but the Boy Scouts of America will officially, as an organization, as a name, be gone on February 8th. The organization, of course, continues. It's rebranding. I'm sure probably between now and February 8th, WNBF will have a big announcement about our rebranding. I'm kidding. And somebody is looking at their radio saying, "What did you say?" Don't be serious. Don't scare us, Bob. WNBF will be rebranding? No, not to my knowledge. But I didn't see this coming either, about Boy Scouts of America rebranding. Scouting America. All right, now that we have resolved that issue, Jesse and Owego, good morning.
Oh, man, there goes the house. I thought it was going to be a little worse than this, Bob.
Well, it does roll off the tongue. Scouting America. I am starting to like it, even though I saw this just 3 or 4 minutes ago. Now, the more I look at it, the more I like it.
Well, it's not bad, but why?
Because it says so they can show their ongoing commitment to welcome every youth and family in America.
No. The real point is they're taking out gender.
Yeah, so which they already had anyway. The Boy Scouts of America had already opened up the operations. It says in the news release, Scouting America currently serves more than 176,000 girls and young women across all programs, and that includes many right here in Broome County. So it's not as though they have not been evolving. They have over the last few years.
Yeah, but you just said girls and women. Well, that no longer applies.
Well, I don't know. Who am I to judge?
Yeah, and you can't say boys and young men because now that no longer applies. So
well, we'll see. Well, I'm sure they're going to put out a directive.
Oh, I can't wait to read that. I'll make sure I'm really sitting down. Maybe I better be laying down.
Thank you, Jesse. I like it. Scouting America. I think it rolls right off my tongue. Scouting America. It sounds like a talent search. The TV show America's Got Talent. This will be on CBS called Scouting America for New Talents. Are you a great singer? Are you a magician? We might feature you this Sunday night at 8 on CBS. Scouting America for emerging talent. Hi, Vinny, you're back.
Yeah.
What's Scouting America? What's on your mind?
Oh, Bob. Well, actually, the other one I'll call for tomorrow because that's a little bit longer. But I just wanted to bring attention to this pastor who condemned Trump's sale of Greenwood's Bible. It was in our paper. I thought that was really good because that was one of my.
When was it in the paper?
It was. Oh, let me see if I can get the date. Oh, of course. See, I cut it out. But it's got a picture of Lee Greenwood. When was that? Was that maybe it might have been late last week.
So somebody actually criticized?
Yeah, by Joyce Orlando. She's the one who wrote the piece. And yeah.
Oh, I see it now. I punched it up on my screen. It actually ran a week ago in some Gannett newspapers. It says Trump's sale of that controversial Bible has hit another level of controversy as a North Carolina pastor went viral for putting it on blast. It says this pastor, Lauren Livingston from Charlotte, condemned the Bible in a sermon delivered April 14th. And he said during the sermon, some of you bring politics into the church. You think that politics is spiritual stuff. That's what the story says. That's what he said in his sermon.
Yeah. And Bob, as it goes on, he said, when you don't read and pray, you say, wow, there's a Bible, and now that includes the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. Isn't that wonderful? And he said, no, it's disgusting. It's blasphemous. It's a ploy. Are you kidding me? Some of you are so encouraged by that. And he goes on, and he said, he goes on, and he goes, our founding fathers did a tremendous thing. Oh, well, that was what Trump said later on. But religion is so important and so missing, but it's going to come back. This is what I'm talking about.
But the Bible, this Bible is affordable. It's available for under $60.
I guess what he's saying is when you vote, it's your civic duty. It's not your spiritual duty. Quit mixing two things up. And that's why you see these evangelicals. And it's so crazy because on Joe Biden, you've got these bishops, Catholic bishops, and all of them in the Catholic that want to condemn him for taking communion. But yet you see Donald Trump, who basically broke every frickin' commandment you can think of, and yet these Southern evangelicals just wrap their arms around this guy. It is just so insane. No wonder nobody goes to these organized houses of faith. Why the numbers are dwindling. We're getting so much mixed messages that are just as plain as day. And Bob, I wonder, is that why at the Last Supper Judas was at that table? I always wonder about that. Son of God, he knew all about this guy up there breaking bread with him and eating grapes and sucking on the wine. He knew. He said, I want this guy here at this table. That's amazing because look what's going on now. And I'm glad that this special came out.
It's interesting. I thank you for calling that to my attention. I had missed it. Appreciate it. Thank you, Vinny. It's 11:56. The guy who is in charge of Boy Scouts of America, soon to be called Scouting America, he spoke in an interview before the formal announcement. Roger Crone said, in the next 100 years, we want any youth in America to feel very, very welcome to come into our program. The organization began allowing gay youth in 2013 and ended a blanket ban on gay adult leaders in 2015. In 2017, it announced that girls would be accepted as Cub Scouts as of 2018 and into the flagship Boy Scout program renamed Scouts BSA in 2019. So, there were nearly 1,000 young women in the inaugural class of female Eagle Scouts in 2021. One of them was Selby Chipman. She said girls were like, you can join Boy Scouts of America. She's now a 20-year-old college student and assistant scoutmaster of her troop. So there you have it, some new developments. Maybe we'll talk with some local representatives of the Boy Scouts of America about the rebranding, which will take effect next February 8th. And remember where you were when you heard the news. You were listening to Binghamton Now and Bob Joseph here on WNBF. Thanks for listening. Thanks for calling. We'll be back tomorrow morning from 9 to noon with another edition of Binghamton Now right here on WNBF and WNBF.com.
Free. This is News Radio 1290 AM, WNBF Binghamton. Now on 92.1 FM, W221 EJ Binghamton, a Town Square media station.